And welcome back to another episode of the 10-Minute Mindset. I really hope you've been enjoying it. I just hit 50 subscribers, tiny number, but a huge step in my journey, so I'm super grateful. Today we have Nate Sterling. Nate is a design innovation mastermind. I do not want to spoil it. He's a creative design thinker that makes things happen. Check the video and enjoy the show. Peace. Ooh, hello and welcome to the 10-Minute Mindset. Hello, Nate. How's it going?
Yeah, good, man. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, man. So Nate Sterling is a social entrepreneur based in Newcastle with a Masters in Multidisciplinary Innovation. He focuses on the creative, digital and IT space and utilises design thinking tools to find solutions to real-life problems. Nate, could you give us a brief outline of what you do and how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, no problem. So I always say this to people. I've got one of the best job titles in the world. I'm an innovator in residence and a research associate at Northumbria University. And then outside of that, I'm a founder of a social enterprise called Herb Hub, which connects communities through herb horticulture and craft. And then when I'm not doing any of that stuff, I'm helping my friends with their startup businesses, from anything from how to use blockchain in esports through to Caribbean food, and everything in between. So, yeah.
What really inspired you as a young person to really go into this industry and into what you're doing now?
Well, I've always said, I guess it comes down to my love for sci-fi, fiction, books, kind of storytelling, just from kind of what I do and what I realize I do is I tell stories and I help visualize and communicate the story of a business, of a startup, of a social enterprise to the people that kind of make the decisions, whether that's money, whether that's kind of support. So I guess it all stems from my love of kind of wondering what if and wondering what the future was like. And like I said, all that stems mainly from my interest in sci-fi, fantasy and fiction.
Do you see your future within this space as well? And where do you see yourself going now?
Well, that's the thing. I guess from the age of 16, I've kind of knew I wanted to do something creative. At first, it was graphic design. Then I went to uni to study industrial design, realized, hold on, I'm not as talented and as gifted as some of the people I was kind of competing against. Then I realized what set me apart was my ability to think. So I switched to service design, then obviously done the Masters in Design Innovation, which is basically how to apply design to business. And I've been in this role for almost 2 years now, and I'm just kind of seeing where it goes. And it's something that it will always be with me. It's part of my identity. Even if I was in Asda stacking shelves, I'd still be doing the stuff I'm doing, outside at the weekend. So, definitely my future.
Yeah, amazing, man. Wicked. Well, thank you so much. So now to really hear about you and your mindset. So you must be incredibly busy as a person, juggling projects. How do you do it? Do you have any tips or tricks or advice that you could give to people on how to handle this?
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is I was a designer before anything else. And kind of in design, you're taught to sketch, to prototype, to kind of externalize everything. And that combined with kind of my poor attention span, I find the best thing to do is just write stuff down, sketch it out, don't leave it in your head because it feels 10 times heavier in the brain than it does on a piece of paper. So once you get it on a piece of paper, it's kind of like, okay, it's that little bit more real and it's that little bit more manageable. So I sketch everything. Absolutely everything.
That's mad. That's really interesting how you even apply the things that you've learned in industry to your own life, and the power of just sketching and using like design to manage your own time. That's wicked, man. And we, as an entrepreneur, you would have faced some really big challenges. What would you say has been one of your biggest challenges, and how did you overcome this challenge?
I think one of the hardest challenges I faced was whilst I was doing my masters, I was working full time in a bar. Wow. And just kind of the contrast of sleeping pattern combined with just kind of the lack of sleep. I guess it was a prolonged period where it was hard. And what I failed to realize till it was over was how important looking after your physical body is. Because I wasn't doing a good enough job of caring for myself, exercising, ensuring I, drink enough water on a day-to-day basis. I was too focused about, okay, I need to get this deadline done. I need to get my thesis done. I need to get all this done. When actually, if I took a minute to go, hold on, let me make sure my body's in the right way, my mind's right, the work would have become so much easier and less stressful.
My next question, which is all about the power of habit. So you've clearly had to build some pretty strategic and strong habits for you to be able to really manage the workload that you have. Could you share some of these habits with us? Do you have any habits or rituals that you wouldn't mind sharing?
I mean, I guess it's weird because I'm very chaotic, and not rarely 2 weeks of mine look the same. So I guess what a habit is just relaxing and being okay with not knowing, which is hard and is complex. And I have kind of a 2 week block in my calendar where I know everything's going on, but past that, I'm just kind of open to it and accepting. But I guess in terms of habits and rituals, for me, it's about exercise. Physically, if your body's in good shape, mentally, you're in good shape. If you're in good shape physically, you're more confident naturally, the way you carry yourself, the way, so that helps. And just, I guess, going back to my earlier point, just externalizing everything, sketching it, getting it down. And then finally, I guess, relax. It's okay to procrastinate. It's okay to not do work all the time. Like I'm one of those guys that screams the importance of procrastinating, the importance of going away from your work, because we're only human. I don't understand the mentality or the mindset of you must do work all the time, because then you're forcing it. And that's, especially in the industry I'm in, that's not the nature of how good work comes about. There is an element of serendipity to it. There is an element of kind of magic, inspiration. So let that happen and don't force it.
That's beautiful, man. Just like that, letting that creative flow come through you and not force. You can't force that, really, can you? You've got to let it happen through like intuition.
The way my mindset and my kind of approach to working comes from extensive kind of self-reflection. My whole master's was built around critical kind of self-reflection and analysis of practice. So when I started to apply that to my lifestyle in general, taking hours to go, hold on, am I living the best life? Am I making the best decisions? And it's not about saying, yes, I'm making the best decisions, or trying to always make the best decisions. Just be aware of it, acknowledge it, that, okay, some things are good for you, some things are bad for you. But that's it. That's okay. That's cool.
So the real key there, really being consciously aware of what you're doing day to day, not really forcing things, and just really letting it flow, and being like, actually, it's okay sometimes to just like procrastinate and not force things to happen.
I mean, I know it sounds like such a cliche, but just be yourself. Understand who you are as an individual and be the best version that you can be in any set environment or context. So
amazing. Yeah, I love that, man. That's awesome. What has been the most fulfilling moment of your career so far?
I guess I'm lucky to have worked in some incredibly moving projects. I describe myself as a social entrepreneur because I am interested in building businesses. I am interested in building brands. That's what I do, weekly, monthly, yearly. But I'm very conscious about having a social impact. And through voluntary work, I've seen people that would not even say hi to a stranger engage in full conversations with them by the end of a program.
Wow.
I've worked on projects where we've helped people realize their ability to do something so trivial. Yeah, it was so big, it was such a big obstacle in their life. And to see how some of the younger generation, I'm talking 10, 11 years old, they might be. It's amazing to see them guide and coach an elderly like resident, and just to forge a new relationship that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for what we've done. I left there, every time we do it, I leave there inspired and kind of, motivated to continue to do the same. I think with everything that's going on with technology and stuff, we forget that we're human and we're deeply social, and interacting with people that aren't like you, that are different to you, that have different points of view, is just really powerful and emotive.
Awesome, man. So one last one, and then we'll wrap it up. The world is full of advice, it's full of knowledge, and we're constantly getting told things from people. But what I'd love to hear sort of is, could you share with us what was the best piece of advice that you've ever been given, and how did it influence your life?
I guess it wasn't like a direct piece of advice, and it sort of came through, I guess, when I was studying my masters. It was kind of I'm not sure, I'll paraphrase because I can't remember exactly, but it was around, understanding your place in the world. Take time to understand your place in the world, and understand it as where you are right now, and understand where you want to be. And just kind of constantly, once again, reflect on that, and ensure that if you are unhappy with it, what are you doing? Address it and acknowledge it. And yeah, that was it really. It's something which I do monthly, daily, showerly, whenever the moment arises, just kind of take time to think, here's where I am. Acknowledge the positives just as much as the negatives. I think it's easy to get caught up in, oh, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. But sometimes, just pick up your chest and scream what you are doing. There's no harm in that.
That's it, man. Just the power of knowing your place and knowing who you are, and always reflecting on that is wicked. Wicked. Nate, it's been an absolute pleasure. You have a wealth of insight, and you're clearly on a great journey, and I'm sure you're going to have a very bright future. So yeah, thank you very much for being part of this episode of the 10 Minute Mind. Nate is truly incredible. He really inspired me when I first met him. Within the first few minutes, I was like, wow, man, you need to be on my series. You've got a really creative and cool mindset, but I really hope you enjoyed. And as always, let me know what you thought in the comments. Please, if you're enjoying these videos, subscribe to my channel. It would mean the world to me. Like the video and share it with a friend. And of course, tune in next time for another episode of the 10 Minute Mindset.